Welcome to yet again another episode of ForFamilies Podcast. I'm excited to be here. I'm your host, Isabella Adediji. This is a podcast for everything family. So when you think family, we're all born into a family. So it's our podcast. And even being born into a family, we still go into other families, whether we raise families of our own or we form families at the workplace, in church, in the mosque, or school mother, school daughter. But when you really think about it, family is the heart of society. It's the smallest unit of society. So I believe that if we can get it right at the family level, we can get it right at the national and even global level. So these conversations are very important, and we're going to be revealing our guest soon, and I'm really excited about today's topic, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm sure you've come across this book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. No, we're all from planet Earth. The last time I checked, I've not known any man to be from Mars or a woman to be from Venus. But then men and women are different. We're humans. But then again, expectations of society: a man should do this, a man should not cry, a woman should not talk, a woman should be seen, not heard, a man is the provider, is the breadwinner. And we see that these stereotypes are being challenged every day, thanks to the woke generation, Gen Z, Gen Alpha. Even the millennials are catching up. I mean, what happened with Generation X and baby boomers is not what's happening now. You do see women who are breadwinners, you see men who cry, men who wear pink and women who like blue, and you begin to question that these gender stereotypes, these expectations, are they real or are they formed? Are they influenced by a certain environment, a society, religion, culture? And it's important that we interrogate these issues, because if we're not careful, what we'll have is to continue to perpetuate this wrong thinking. I mean, when you have a child, the child is not automatically thinking, oh, because I'm a boy, I'm supposed to act like this, or because I'm a girl, I'm supposed to act like this. So why is it when we become men and women that we feel we must act in certain ways? At the heart of it, we are human. I mean, I won't even go into the whole equality conversation or equity conversation, but I just want us to focus on our humanity and to really unpack all these things, because when you look at it, they've been more harmful than helpful. But that's my opinion. I'm sure our guest today will have a lot to say, and why not? I mean, you know her as a journalist. She is also a parenting advocate. She's a gender specialist. She has a column in the newspaper on parenting, and who better to speak to on issues like this? Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, and all of that, other than Ijeoma Thomas-Odia, who's looking absolutely beautiful and ravishing. I mean, you can have beauty and brains, and she herself is a family woman. So don't, before you come for us and say we went to go and bring feminist woman, no, we brought a woman that is running a family, raising a family, and doing very important work. So Ijeoma, I'm so happy that you honored our invitation. You're here. I can't wait to get into your brain, because I mean, gender, parenting, family, and great work you're doing as Guardian Woman for the women out there, telling positive stories of impact and shining the spotlight on women who otherwise would just like to stay in the shadows. So welcome to ForFamilies Podcast.
Thank you so much, Isabella. It's such an honor to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
And you're looking beautiful. I have to say that again. So, Mr. Thomas-Odia, you're going to pay extra bride price now. See, yummy mommy.
Thank you so much. You look good too.
Thank you.
I love the African feel, and that's what I also like to promote.
Yes. Desire by Tobes will hook you up.
Oh, okay.
It's Desire by Tobes, right? Okay, yes. Okay. Desire by Tobes will hook you up. I love Adire, buy Nigerian, wear Nigerian. Absolutely. It's also a women's wear brand by two women. So I think you should check them out. Okay.
Yes, I will.
So to the conversation, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Growing up, I don't know did you have brothers? Did you have sisters? Do you have cousins? At what point did you begin to know, like, oh, I'm supposed to act like this because I'm a girl, or you're supposed to act like that because he's a boy? And when you didn't act like that, something was wrong.
Okay, so I have a brother and I have a sister. So we're 3 in all. And for me, my growing up wasn't the okay. I think the only thing that sounded a bit different for us was that growing up as a girl, you're expected to be home earlier, and the boy, nobody cares when you decide to come home because they feel, oh, you are the girl, you should be more reserved, be in the home, probably be in the kitchen and probably prepare the meals before the men or daddy and your brother comes back, even though you can't even tell where they went.
Wow. And I know that growing up is almost like, you need to learn how to do this for your husband's husband's house. Learn how to pound yam.
Absolutely.
Is this how you're going to behave in your husband's house? Did you ever hear, is this how you're going to behave in your wife's house? Or learn how to do this because your wife is going to need you to do that?
No, not at all. And interestingly, because of how our world has evolved, my mom is around me and she has seen how I have also evolved as a woman. How even being a woman has not stopped me from even doing the things that, make me be who I am today. And then she's now beginning to tell my younger brother, you need to find a woman like. So that's the first time for me I'm actually hearing, somebody actually talk about how a woman should behave, or how a man, or the kind of person a man should have in his home. But we know, you have said a lot, actually, when you were introducing, and it reminds us a lot about how, stereotypes, cultural barriers have made women, just relegate them and make them feel like what they are most better at, or what they should be known for, is just being in the kitchen. And in most industries, in most worlds, in most sectors, you'll find out that at the entry level, you find a lot of young girls. In fact, I saw some today and I was already shaking my head like, okay. And these are actually Gen Zs, because that a few of them are now beginning to get married. And I was already telling myself that I hope these girls don't fall by the way, at the point when when motherhood starts telling on them, husband, family, all of those very weird barriers that come around for women. And so for me, it is not about, when we say gender is not about women. Gender is both man and woman. It's saying what is good for the goose is good for the gander, right? So you cannot say a woman who gets to this level cannot do this because you think she's married, she has kids to take care of, there are other responsibilities, or you think that those responsibilities are not womanly, in quotes. What happens to your desires? What happens to the kind of things that you enjoy? Just like you said, you can be a man and you just fancy pink. What happens to you just fancying pink? The other day, I was at a friend's place, and all the children there were girls. So of course my friend had only girls. So of course all her toys were Barbie, kitchen toys. And my son naturally didn't have what to play with. He started playing with the kitchen toys. And the natural, I don't know what the exact word to use, but 1 minute I was going to tell him, leave that's for girls. And I remembered, but he's enjoying it, he's playing. After all, you have men who go to who cook in hotels, who are chefs, and all of that. So why would you want to stop people from doing what they love because you think that, culturally, or the society will see you as being weird doing those things? And so it just tells how much, we need to work on our psychic, right? We need to work on the kind of things because all these things are, I was telling my mom the other day, who said, you just said they said, Who are they?
Exactly. Who said?
Who said?
You know, it's so telling because
Right.
at that point, even if he didn't like to play with the kitchen utensils, that
Right.
was the only available toy. And he probably won't want to feel left out.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned that, you know, you grew up in a family that had a brother and a sister. So, you know, there'll be times that you want to play with your sister and your sister is playing with a particular toy, or you want to play with your brother and he's playing football, and you want to feel among. So it was just this, I feel like the same scenario repeating itself.
Exactly.
And I wonder, you know, you said the Gen Z ladies, they are getting married, hope they don't fall by the way when they get married. Are we asking the same thing for the Gen Z gentlemen, that these gentlemen, when they get married though and they start having kids, hope they won't fall by the way? What does that tell us about that responsibility of care and keeping the home when it comes to the man and the woman?
Okay, so I think that the world is changing. A lot of men are beginning to see that if I come home and there's no food, or maybe she's not home, because what we know of, especially with the millennials and baby boomers, is that the man must come home to meet his meal, right? He must come, and if the wife goes to the market, because that's what it traditionally is, like the woman has gone to the market or gone to her shop, there's not so much of professional kind of job for women at that time. If the woman comes back, she has to come back and still prepare, pound, do all the work. But today we're beginning to see men who are already embracing, knowing that, oh, my wife is not available. There's nothing says that the kitchen belongs to the woman. Why should it even belong to her, really? You have hands. You are hungry. So why not go in and find
If you can eat, you should be able to prepare your meals, or at least have that responsibility for maybe cater it out if the woman is tired or she's absent, And that brings to mind this lyric. Please pardon my voice. I'm not Kiss Daniel, but in your mind, I'm Kiss Daniel. Will you wake up at 4:30 to cook breakfast for me? Did I get it? I mean, it's a lyric in a song, but it also speaks to a real life situation. And this is a man asking in the song, will you wake up at 4:30 to cook breakfast for me? So I'm listening to the song, I'm thinking, is that even a criteria? Are these the kind of conversations we should be having in a relationship? Waking up at 4:30 to cook breakfast. When does the woman ask that question?
You know that some of these things you're saying now, it now feels like when we talk about these things, the men make it look like they're beginning to, there's a revolution going on. They want they are trying to do this freedom fighting Luther thing, because any man would like that kind of thing, really, whether you're Gen Z or baby boomer or not, because they just feel like you're giving them some kind of honor, right? But if you really like that woman, you want her to grow, you want the best of her, because both physically, mentally, health-wise, emotionally, it takes a lot from women. You are out, you're already exhausted from work, you want to come home feeling refreshed. And that's the same case for that same man. Why should the woman not also enjoy that same privilege?
That's a good question. Like, will you wake up, men, at 4:30 a.m. to cook breakfast for me? Like, I think we should pose that to the men. A man is asking me, will I wake up at 4:30? You should also be ready to answer.
That is what gender stands for. Like, we want... So gender is saying that this is a man. Their biological makeup. A man would have beards. He has broad shoulders. That's what makes him a man. You can see it. A woman will have, her physical attributes, breasts and all of that. That's what makes her a woman. But when we now talk about gender roles, which is where the whole cultural bias come in, right? And these gender roles are only culturally construed. It's the society that says that a woman should be in the kitchen.
Or the other room.
Or the other room. But that same man will go and work at a hotel and he will cook. and make a
And probably
living.
wake up at 4:30 a.m. to start cooking. So I just feel like there's so much to unpack. And in the family setting, as parents who are learning, relearning, unlearning, how can we teach our children from a young age to look at themselves first as humans before they live up to the expectations of what society is saying, which can change, because I know this new generation.
It's changing,
Uh-huh.
really. No, it's changing. And like I was saying earlier, we're beginning to see men who understand these things. I was having a conversation the other day, and the man was saying, if I was talking to a man now, I would understand. But this one, I'm talking to a woman, it's just sounding somehow. And my husband was sitting next to me. I said, you want a man, Abi? Okay, talk to your gender. And my husband picked up the phone and just said, you said that, and I find it highly insulting that you said that. Because these are the same men who will have female bosses. But you come home and want to bully your wife, or you want to bully the next woman, right? So, and if that kind of man is raising children, what kind of children will he be raising? What kind of instinct will he be putting? What kind of training will he be putting in those children? And that's where the problem is. And it feels like we'll keep going in circles till we're able to phase out such people with such ideology, such mindset. I grew up in a home where my dad, although I lost my dad a bit early, but he was the kind of person who wanted to see me do, like, maybe at 13 or 15, he would ask me, go and start the car and warm it, He would tell me to do things like that. He wasn't seeing me like I was a girl who should just be in the kitchen. It's good to know how to cook. It's a life skill that everybody needs to have, right? We will not start asking men to go and learn how to give birth, because we know that biologically these are things that are just there for women. And who says that a man should not cry if he thinks he wants to cry, if that's the best way to show his emotions, right? And so it just tells you how much, if humans are allowed to be humans, we would live in a better world.
I definitely agree. And, the example you gave of holding yourself back from, telling your son not to play is something that I've heard other mothers speak about. Maybe their daughter wants to take up what is seen as a masculine sport.
Right.
Don't go and play football. Don't go and do this sport so that you won't have muscles. But are we not the same people saying that what they are paying the men in football, they should pay the women? I mean, if you watch your brother do well in football and you say, okay, this person is going to go and make millions playing in the Premiership, should the woman also have that desire that if I take this skill seriously, I can also make good money?
Absolutely.
So what are we supposed to be doing as parents to clear our minds from these preconceived notions? Like, and what is even wrong if a woman has muscles or a girl has muscles?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because what is more important is not even the muscles, is do you even enjoy what you're doing? You remember that when it comes to work, when it comes to, a career path that you choose to take on, what is first most important is, are you passionate about it? Do you enjoy it? Because work should not be like, moving cement or carrying brick on your head. Work should be something that you enjoy. And that's the only way you can grow, thrive at what you do, right? And so if as a girl child, I choose to be an engineer, and I know what it takes, being on site, maybe driving a crane or trying to do something for myself, maybe there's no man available to do and all of that, the way the way that what I love doing makes me look or makes me appear shouldn't be what matters. Is, do I even enjoy what I'm doing? Am I feeling fulfilled? Because at the end of the day, we now find out that a lot of people end up in spaces where they no longer get fulfilled because they're trying to please, what the society expects them to be like. They're trying to please people. And so parents I just feel like these things are changing, really. Because even though we still have parents who are more of millennials and baby boomers, these Gen Zs are taking it by force. They are changing they are changing the narrative and telling you that this is what I love to do and this is what I will do, right? And so more parents are beginning to see the change are beginning to experience things to see that really the future now is female. More things are going into the hands of women. And we see every day in the news that a woman is breaking or shattering one glass in one field or the other. And what that tells you is that more women are daring. They are doing the kind of things that they'll say men or are just left for just the men. And because we're all seeing this, it's already changing the narrative.
I think it is. And I love the example you gave of your husband being your advocate in that situation and standing up to a fellow man to say, no, that's not how you speak to her. Is it because she's a woman? That's wrong.
Absolutely.
Simple. Like, it wasn't even doing for the brotherhood. Sisterhood supports your husband. But what I want to drive at is that we have a lot of male allies. We have men who are supporting their women, allowing them, or let me not use the word allowing. We have men who are giving their full support. We have men who are not threatened by the success of their wives or their partners. We have men who are okay to allow women be.
Absolutely.
But sometimes the problem is the woman. It is the women who are telling the other women, your own is too much. Why are you doing this one? No, it's the man that should do it. You should not do it. So I feel like in as much as we tell the men equality and equity, there's even more responsibility to the other women who maybe in their own times, they were not used to seeing women take on less traditional roles. How do we get through to them? Because they are the ones actually protecting the men, if you ask me. That's why you have a mother-in-law going to a home and is fighting with the wife, that the wife didn't wake up at 4:30 a.m. to cook. But the husband is okay.
Okay, so not all women are made to work. Some women will not work. Like, they enjoy just being housewives. And it's okay for you to be a housewife. It's perfect. Like, because really, if you leave these men in the deepest part of their heart, they want you to sit at home and just raise children. And for those women who choose that that's what they want, because it is not an easy task, really. It's not. So if that's what they choose to do, it is perfect. Some people want to work in an office. Some people want to be career people. It's perfect. Others want to be business people. It's perfect. And so you can imagine that these are maybe three different, I just painted scenario of just three different, kind of women. Some women just want to spend their husband's money and have all the housekeepers, just stay around. Why some who have, no matter how wealthy they are, they still want to work because that's what gives them fulfillment. So if you know what gives you fulfillment, you don't allow someone else, try to help you define what should be the standard in your own home. No two homes are the same. No two families are the same. You might seem to have similar issues, but the cases can never be the same. And you can't use somebody else's standard, for yours, because you need to actually work this out based on your specifics, right? And so we know that we see women who talk about these things, but then again, that's their opinion. And we will also continue to have this conversation, to make them understand
very important.
That this thing has to be fixed. It is actually, and the problem right now for me is that they are also raising their children the same way.
That's the thing. And that takes me to the next question. For parents, for caregivers, for teachers, for people with some level of influence, when it comes to doing work in the house, let's use that as an example, how do we remain equitable so that we don't put so much load on the girl child? Okay, go and do this, and then the boy, is just sitting down playing games. Like you gave the example, whatever time you come home is your business. Or even things like, don't go and get pregnant, or don't go and do this. But do they tell the boys the same thing? Because we need to change that whichever way.
Right. So even I have young children, and I don't see what my son should be doing, my daughter should be doing that my son shouldn't do. If you finish eating, take your plate to the kitchen and you wash it. You wash your own too. Because I know that a lot of people, you hear men who, women who talk about, industrious husbands. And, because our society is defined, you now hear women praise those industrious husbands because it doesn't seem like a normal thing, right? But today we need to start making it, the norm, because more women are already out there in that same workspace where you think is only reserved for the men. And so it's important that as you raise your children, even though I've heard women who will tell you, I've heard women say it, I can't allow my son get into the kitchen. What is his sister doing? Yes.
So what if she only had sons?
Oh, she would do it all by herself.
So that kind of scenario, what happens when that son grows up to become a man?
The wife will do it.
So then the criteria for marrying a wife.
Absolutely. And that's where the problem lies. And so we should be raising our children to understand that by the time, like the lyrics you said, he poses that kind of question to you, you just know it's a red flag. Because gone are the days when a man decides to marry you because he thinks you can wash well. What happens to washing machine? Or he thinks you're a cook, you can cook. Please, there are chefs all over the world.
And we order food.
And
it would be nice if, you take it in turns. For example, the person who likes to cook should cook.
Absolutely.
The person who doesn't like to cook should not have to stress about
Absolutely.
it. Someone else would say, okay, I'm ironing, I'm cooking,
Absolutely.
I'm cleaning.
Like, if people can understand that, putting that weight, removing that unnecessary burden on the woman, it will even actually help you build a happier home. It will help you because the woman is the neck. She's holding the family. And if she's always burning out because she's trying to keep up with the responsibilities in the home, it is sad. Unfortunately, this same woman who is burning out will be training her because the children are also looking at her.
Exactly.
And they'll be learning. They'll be seeing the trend. Even if you don't tell them, they're seeing it. The man will say, Shebi, my mom has been doing this. This is how my mom does it. So what are you doing? You want to come and cross leg in my house? And so that's where how people get into, marriages that now begin to raise concern, because those red flags will be there. For me, a man who is telling you, can you wake up at 4:30 to cook? The truth is that if you can wake up at 4:30 to cook, it is absolutely fine. No? There is nothing wrong with it. I'm not a fan of being in the kitchen. And my husband, funny enough, like, I found a man who is not a foodie. So it's like we found our match. It's okay. When it comes to washing, even to put clothes in washing machine is a problem for me. He will be the one to put it. And we are okay. Nobody is complaining. But imagine he was a foodie. We'll be fighting every day. Maybe. Or if he wants it a certain way, and I did not get, you didn't get that memo before you got married. Because for me, that's where the problem is.
What about when you have a situation like this that is working, and then you have outsiders? A friend comes in and he's like, Ijeoma, you're allowing your husband to go and put the clothes inside the washing machine. You are not a Proverbs 31 woman. You are not a hardworking woman. Or, hey, look at your husband is the one cooking. Or it could be a mother-in-law. It could be a friend. It could be a sibling. That just because that's not their normal, they even now, or maybe they even go to go and meet the husband and say, you self, you're letting your wife do this. She's using you. She's controlling you. Look at me. In my own house, they do this. I mean, how do you deal with those kind of pressures? Because they do exist.
They exist, but I cannot remember any from me because I don't try to get people to that point where you come to decide what happens in my own home or take control. And I think that more people should begin to, to put up such lifestyle. Like I said, no two things, like even if you come to tell me that this is what is the ideal thing in your home, as much as it looks similar, it's not the same. And so you cannot play the same script for your home in my home, right? I try to understand that if this is my home and it is my private business, right? And I should run it in a way that makes me healthier, makes me more loving, makes me emotionally stable, balanced spiritually, mentally, and I'm happier. It shouldn't be determined by what someone else thinks about how my home should be run, right? If I tell you this is what I do, it's fine. But then again, this question should actually be for those who don't have an option. Like, okay, they have to take it all in. and they are wondering what do they do, please tell them to back off. When the man was marrying you, they were not there.
We've heard it all. They should back
Please,
off.
back off. Like, I don't know why you should come to decide, because that's the truth is that's part of the problems in homes, the problems in marriages. A man, of course, everyone will know one weird thing in a home, right? I've been to my friend's house, and in my presence, she served her husband, and the man almost yelled at her, and she apologized and took the food back. But what's my business, really?
It's your business. So that's why we're having these conversations, because it's weird.
It's weird.
It is, because
it's weird, but
because the children are watching.
Absolutely.
And that's the person that will grow up one day and just be like, but my mommy, took it, apologized, and went back to the kitchen. Now, when you have those situations play out and kids are watching, the media is there doing their own thing, it can almost feel so hopeless, because you just feel like the cycle is going to continue. But I like that we're having this conversation, because for me, it's about those practical steps we need to take. What should we be telling our children? What should we be telling our teenagers? And then the role of the media. This is your space. How can we change that psyche so that we have a more equitable society. Where people can just be?
I'll start with the role of the media. It's very common for you to find single mom of 4 contest for election, but you will not hear single dad of 4 contesting.
Did you hear that? Like, how come the number of children and her marital status is now
divorced woman? They just make very. And this is the media. That's what the media would do.
Or they'll say she has her children from different men.
And this is you labeling that woman.
How does that relate to the work she's doing, or her capacity? Do we know whether they die? Do we know whether that's her interest? I mean, men marry multiple wives and nobody makes it a big deal.
A big deal. In fact, if you're now a side chick, they'll now write it for you there. So person's side chick. But the man has other people who nobody's talking about.
Some men are side pieces. They are side bobbers. They are, yes.
Nobody's going to talk about it. They'll just go straight to his career path. And that's where all of those biases, it still goes. And so it behoves on us in the media to represent people accurately. If the subject of discussion is politics, what is she doing? How is she representing her people? How is she? Don't put up all those sexist comments and make it look like, she's wearing short skirts or mini skirts. I don't know the word to use. There are different levels of skirts. We find a lot of it, and it feels like, and at the end of the day, you realize that the story is no longer about what she's doing, but that narrative that you are trying to paint. And that's where you now find women who are not, because more women. The truth is that women who try to be very reserved, they will not make the news. It's those ones that want to be very radical, because they know that those are the things that people will pick out, and they damn the consequences and just come out and make sure that they tell the world whatever it is. So if the only way they can get in that media space is for them to use a single mother of 4, they don't mind. But they want to come out. And some people will see that kind of headline and they'll go straight back into their shell. They won't come out to do anything again. And so that's a problem in the media. And we are hoping that has been worked on, right? And then when it comes to the home, more women, like you said, we are women. It just falls on women.
Do you think it only falls on women? I think men to have a role to play. So I'm just
wondering if I'm the one who thinks that, my son should be in the kitchen. My husband might not even be there when I'm asking him to go to the kitchen. So will my husband ask him, no, come out of the kitchen? Really? Because most of the kind of work that needs to, I won't even call it work or housework, let's call it life skill.
Skills.
They are life-saving skills. A woman should also learn how to drive when her brother is going to learn how to drive. The girl child should, when she's up to 18, right?
And maybe the point you make is that sometimes the absence of fathers in that caregiving or taking responsibility or giving direction, puts a lot of responsibility on the women. And sometimes the only example they have is what they've seen growing up. So what are the men doing, or what should they be doing to ensure that maybe it's the man that should say, come on, get up from that Nintendo Xbox and enter the kitchen, and then call the daughter and say, well, you have been working too hard, you come and sit down and do whatever you want to do.
But how was that man raised? Because you can't give what you don't have.
So that takes us back to the media. So if we're watching movies where it's normalized,
Right.
we're seeing challenges on TikTok, on X, and we're seeing more males doing things that are deemed female,
Right.
then and more females doing things that are deemed male, then it becomes like this is just being human. So maybe that's a real challenge where we're being very intentional. So even in school,
Right.
even the examples we give, even the stories we tell.
Yes. So for me, it's something that takes everyone in your small little space, educate people as much as you can. You might just be on the road walking and you just see somebody who is misrepresenting roles, and you tell the person, no, you don't think that. If she thinks that this is what she wants for herself, please, by all means, support her.
And if it's a boy that wants to play with dolls, or he likes the color pink, or he enjoys cooking,
allow him. Because at the end of the day, really, look at what we end up, studying, professions. When you come out to say, okay, this is what you do for a living. What is most important is that, number one, you enjoy it. You're passionate about it. And then it puts food on your table. So why should I bother about what society thinks, even though we all have somehow lived with that mindset all our lives? But we are hoping that as the world is evolving, we are seeing that the Gen Zs are now the ones taking over. We're beginning to see their mindset, how they don't, little things that we'll call you want to take a rest. They'll say you're disturbing my mental health. My mental, they were the ones who brought about all these. My mental health is in, because you're just used to, you do the work and move on. But for them, they want to take a break and they tell you, I want to take care of my mental state and all of that. So we're seeing that with more Gen Zs understanding this picture. And of course, maybe baby boomers and millennials give birth to these Gen Zs. So even the children themselves will be doing they will be re-educating their parents.
Yeah, I definitely see that playing
They'll
out.
be re-educating their parents, because that has to happen.
Definitely.
But it is still a long journey. But we are hoping that one step at a time, we'll be seeing the changes just somewhere and somewhere. But it is a journey.
I think there's so much to take away, but I love how you keep coming back to passion, fulfillment, and self-actualization at the end of the day. Right. Forget what society says. Thinks, forget what is expected of your gender.
Right.
Are you fulfilled? Are you passionate? Right. Are you kind? Do you have life skills?
Right.
These are the bigger questions. And I think if parents can focus on that, like, am I training a son or a daughter to have life skills? Am I training this child to do what they are passionate about, to have a mind of their own? We'll begin to see that change. So my final question will be the biggest lesson you've learned in this parenting journey as a gender specialist, as a parenting advocate. And in that lesson, we're hoping it can be a hack for our viewers in how we're raising a more equitable society.
Okay, so for me, the biggest lesson is patience and taking it each day as it comes, because in parenting, it evolves. You are unboxing something that you have probably never seen before. And so you're also learning every day, learning as it comes. You're waking up today and you're seeing your child, behave a certain way, or now beginning to live the kind of, live in a certain way that you have probably been talking about in a while, and you're like, oh, okay, so this is working. So of course, that's where the patient comes in, because you might have been happy on that thing, and over time you begin to see the results, right? And while you're seeing the results, other ones are unfolding, right? So it's you taking each day as it comes, and that way, as parents, I expect that as you go on that journey, you don't see that girl child or that boy child as just a girl or just a boy. You're seeing them as children who are change makers, who can impact their worlds, who can bring to life something that, you may never have even conceived, or you probably just thought about. And them bringing these things to life will also mean them doing things that you might say, wow, right? And so what is also most important as a parent is don't have any templates in your head, because it's that template that makes us have all those socially construed ideas. So take away any templates that you may have had, because most of us who are millennials may have had that kind of template growing up. So just take that all away. Put yourself on that clean slate to take in as they give it to you.
I love that, taking as they give it to you. And I think as a parent is just knowing that your work is more to steward, is more to guide, is to be a safe space.
Right.
And if you are that, you will allow children to be and leave, all that gender constructions, right, or expectations. We can leave that at the door. I'm glad we're having conversations like this, because I know that someone watching out there will go back and think again, like, okay, this thing I'm about to stop my son from doing, entering the kitchen, is this going to help him when he grows up? What if he never gets married? What if he never... Absolutely. What if he married somebody that is the president of the country and she's not able to go to the kitchen? Right. So when we start having those conversations and start thinking, I hope that we'll begin to see that, mindset shift. Thank you so much, Ijeoma Thomas-Odia, journalist, parenting advocate. She's a gender specialist. She has a column in the paper. She's doing amazing work with Guardian Woman, and just good to have such a robust conversation that a lot of people can just really plug into, because it's real life and it's happening.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Welcome to one of my favorite segments. Well, I love all these segments, so let me not be that mother that chooses amongst her children. But I love this segment because it's all about what I'm loving. So I put you on all the good stuff because I love correct. So what am I loving today? I'm loving these bags from Indigene. I mean, look at me now. I'm in Desire by Tobes and One Day Silver, which is an indigenous women's wear brand in Nigeria. I'm wearing Adire. If you don't know, Adire is locally dyed cotton, and they use wax to create this pattern. So, I mean, I'm doing, and this is Ashoke. And guess what? This is also Ashoke too. So you can see that I'm on brand. Like, yeah, it should make me Nigerian ambassador, but I'm really loving the bags from the Indigene, and that's because, I mean, it uses our local fabric, Ashoke. This is hand woven. Just look at the craftsmanship. I mean, look at the tailoring. It is not done anyhow. And when someone takes their time to do work, like craft work, it shows, and it means quality is going to last, because you can carry it and you're not thinking about this thing is going to rip or is going to start coming apart. The quality is really good. I like the colors, and I also like the shape of bag, because a lot of times you can get tired of carrying the usual handbag, and this is quite cool. It's like a mini knapsack or so. You can put things inside it, and I'm big on quality. I'm big on buy Nigerian to grow the Naira, support our fashion designers because they are killing it, not just on a national level, on a global level. So let me show you. Let me put you on to more bags by the Indigene. So we'll see this one here. I mean, I like how the purple is, taken from here. So if you want something a bit more formal, I like this contrast with the gold. Again, is the ashoke, is the quality. I wish you could just touch it with me. I wish you could just see like the sewing, and also as a mother, as a fashionista, as a woman, you want to have space. So I can just imagine all the things I'm going to put in here. Phone, what else? The thing that we used, power bank, yes, power bank, business cards, maybe wipes, tissue. Yes, you don't want to be caught on fresh. Like, it will all fit in here. So I love the colors. I think we still have time to show you another bag. You can see this one has like the one you can change how long it is or make it shorter by doubling it, or you can have one that is just handy. Just have a look at it. Again, I like the patterns too. You can see here, this is mirrored. So what you have here, you have here. What you have here, you have here, and here, and here. Again, good quality. Is ashoke, it's hand woven. So anytime I think ashoke, I think about the men, the women who are making a living from what has been passed down from generation to generation. Ashoke is not a Gen Z thing or an in thing. It's generations to generations. And I like the fact that we're supporting the local economy. So shout out to the indigene. Good craftsmanship. If you open the bag, you can see you want to go from having it handy to having, an attachable strap. So again, you can get longer, you can make it shorter, you just adjust it. So options, I mean, what's not to love about a bag that gives you options? Enough room to put all the things I mentioned, maybe makeup, tissue, wipes, power bank, phone. When I was still earlier on in my parenting journey, maybe I'd have put maybe a diaper. My kids don't use diapers anymore, but it can fit in here. A sanitary towel can definitely fit in here, or your tampon. And for the guys out there, you're looking forward to get your girlfriend, your wife, your mom. Trust me, I don't see ashoke going out of fashion. I see it staying, and the quality is just good. And there's always that warm feeling when you know that Tiwa Tiwa is our own, leave all these foreign brands, let us invest here. You use Naira to buy this one. So shout out to the indigene, do check them out, and you can tell them that Isabella from ForFamilies Podcast sent you, and I'm sure they'll be nice to you. Okay, so see, trust me to put you on and all things good. So that's where we'll be wrapping up this segment, one of my favorite segments, which is what I'm loving now. I'm definitely loving ashoke, whether it's in my clothes or bags, accessories. Ashoke is here to stay. I don't want to say this is one of my favorite segments, but maybe it is too, because this is a segment where your questions are answered. You ask, we answer. So keep the questions coming in. We also pay attention to questions we see in the DM, questions we see online. We listen out to all things family. And one question that someone sent to me was, how do you deal with this issue of women raising boys to end up being narcissistic? And I think it's, on one side, it might be unfair to just put all that responsibility on the woman, because caregiving, raising up a child should be the responsibility of both the father and the mother. But then I can also understand when this comes up, because these women end up being mothers-in-law, and they're the ones who are supporting narcissistic behavior in their sons. So yes, it's not only the responsibility of the woman to raise a son. Where it's possible in a two-parent home, both mom and dad should be responsible. But when this boy grows up to be a man and is in his house, or he's married, or in society, a woman who is still allowing or encouraging or supporting directly or indirectly is an issue, because what we forget is that that woman that is at the receiving end of the narcissism of your son, that woman can be your daughter, can be your sister, can be your in-law, can be your mom. You wouldn't want that for all these people. You wouldn't want your mom, your sister, your niece, your auntie, your grandma, your great-grandma to be at the receiving end of a narcissistic man. So I think women should go a step further to just think for a second, like, this behavior I'm indulging my son in, or I'm supporting my son, that can be me. And it's not even so much that it's a woman, because most times it's a woman, but it's a human being. So if the narcissistic behavior continues and it goes to the woman, and by extension it goes to the children, or it goes to another man, it's wrong. Let us stop hiding behind, this is my child, I must support my child in everything. Your child is allowed to do some things wrong, and it is okay to chastise. It's okay to speak out in love. It's okay to call a spade a spade. What is wrong is wrong. If you would not want that for your daughter, you wouldn't want that for your son, then don't encourage it. So my advice is, women out there who have been doing this, you just need to stop, and you need to do the right thing. Do the right thing because it's the right thing. Speak up, chastise in love. Yoruba say, with one hand you will chastise, and the other hand you will draw the person in for an embrace. So there's the opportunity to have both in a situation. I also think that counseling is needed, because some of these women, it is trauma over the years. That's all they've seen. So sometimes they need to get through this. And also the men too. Go, if you need to go and see a therapist, have a session, go through counseling. And you also need to be intentional about learning better ways to address the situation. So this is to us, and I feel like we need to constantly check ourselves. So shout out to the women who are raising good men and good women. Shout out to the men who are very involved and are leading by example, because again, I'll push it to the men. If those boys see men, father figures, uncle figures, brother figures doing the right thing and not being narcissistic, then it becomes normal to them. But when they see the wrong thing as normal, then it's almost like, well, they got away with it, so we can continue doing it. So thank you for that question. If you have any questions, feel free to get in touch with us. Send a DM. You can see details on the screen. And if there's a situation that is trending, or you want us to jump in on, let us know. This is for family. It is for families. It is for me and you. So I'll say nothing is really out of bounds here. So far as it has to do with families, it's okay. Ask the question, we answer, and that's where we're wrapping things up. I can't believe we're almost coming to the end of this episode. What a conversation. What a show. What a podcast. I mean, gender roles. I think we can talk about this forever and ever. And I know it seems like things are not changing, but I do believe that these conversations will get people thinking. And the more you think, the more you talk about it, the higher the chance that you will actually act upon it. So the next time your son is going to play with kitchen utensils and is asking to wear a pink shirt, you will think twice before saying no. Or the next time your daughter wants to get involved in sports and go into the sciences, you won't be thinking about, oh, she's going to get muscles. You'll be thinking, look, follow your passion. And I love how at the end of the day it speaks to our humanity. The idea that men are from Mars and women are from Venus, I think, is social construct. And that's why we see in different climes where men do things that are seen to be for women, and women do things that are seen to be from men. And everyone gets on with it. I trust the Gen Zs. I trust, the Gen X. They are the woke generations. They are going to definitely push the envelope and ensure that we're more equitable and we we are more understanding. It's humanity first, then you can do gender next. I'm glad that if I decide today that I want to be a bricklayer, I don't think there's anybody that will stop me from being a bricklayer. They will advise me that you have to go and work out in the gym so you have the energy. But I don't think anyone will tell me that a woman cannot be a bricklayer or a man cannot be a chef. Now, how? So great conversation. And if you have a particular topic you'd like us to discuss here on ForFamilies Podcast, do get in touch. The contact details are on the screen. If you have a question for us, or there's something that you are loving and you think I should try out, whether it's an app, a product, a service, something that you think will be great for families, then feel free. We're all ears. I would really love to hear from you. Let us know what you like, and yes, send a message, even if it's just, hello Isabella, I love the work you are doing on ForFamilies Podcast, and trust me, something as little as that will, trust me, it will make my day and will make the entire team's day. So don't be selfish. So you know what to do. Keep it locked here. But if you haven't subscribed, maybe someone sent you the link, please, what are you waiting for? Ejo, Biko, please subscribe, and make sure you turn on the notifications so you don't miss an episode. All the details you need are on the screen. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Isabella Adediji. Can't wait for you to join us again on ForFamilies Podcast. Bye.